Cruella is basically the pop-punk love child of The Lion King and The Devil Wears Prada. And here's why. I'm not sure how I feel about it. The movie starts out with baby Ella, played by the brilliant Emma Stone, but not exactly the Ella we're all familiar with. And so we're introduced to Estella, the freaky-haired problem child on everyone's mind. But despite all that, the girl still got enough charisma to put Brad Pitt and his amazing 400-watt smile to shame. And truthfully, my only complaint from the beginning of the movie is that I wanted more. It all moved so fast, as if I could feel the movie just trying to skip to the really good parts. But hey, I was intrigued. So because little Ella is such a hassle, and so unlike the other kids, she's kicked out of school. And her mother is forced to find schooling for her elsewhere, specifically London. But before they can get started on their journey, the two have to make a mysterious stop. Estella's mom tells her to stay in the car and stay out of trouble. But like any kid ever would listen to that. So naturally, she gets into some trouble. Trouble that, spoiler alert, leads to the death of her mom. And then the story really gets going. Naturally, Estella pulls a full-on Simba by blaming herself and running away to hide and also wallow in her newfound motherlessness. So she continues to London with her puppy Buddy, where she meets her very own Timon and Pumbaa, aka Jasper and Horace, and their little dog Wink. So Little Jasper and Little Horace are little master thieves, and after being followed by Estella while running from the cops, they decide to take her in. Estella then dyes her hair to fit in, and we are transported 10 years into the future. Ella, Jasper, Horace, Wink, and Buddy are now all master thieves, and they've got a killer operation going. They wear fabulous disguises, designed by Ella, and they're really just all around killing the game. But Estella wants more, and knows her mom would have wanted more for her too. So Jasper, being the sweet soul that he is, swindles a job for her at a very, very notorious fashion boutique, with designs by the one and only legendary Baroness, played by Emma Thompson. So Estella, at first, is overjoyed to have this job, but it turns out she's just a glorified janitor, and she's not too happy with that. And while every day she begs her manager to give her her big break, time and time again he shoots her down, until one bad day she snaps. She breaks into her boss's cabinet and steals alcohol, and redesigns a truly horrendous window display. But her fatal mistake is that she passes out. And naturally, the next morning, she gets caught. But also that next morning, the one and only Baroness comes to the store, sees the window display, and just as Estella is being fired and thrown out, the Baroness saves her behind and gives her a job on her personal design team. And with that, her Cinderella moment begins. Estella begins working for the Baroness and quickly becomes her beloved protege, but not in so many words. You know how these hardcore designers can be. Praise? She doesn't exist. But I digress. And everything is going all good and dandy until Estella finds out that the Baroness is responsible for her mother's death. And instead of saying, "No worries for the rest of her days," no, she starts planning her very intimate revenge. revenge. It's the standard 3-step villain plan. 1. Steal her empire. 2. Humiliate and embarrass her forever. And 3. Murder. Yeah. You know how it goes. And so, Cruella is born. Estella's confidently evil and unapologetically bold alter ego, who is actually more like her authentic self, except she isn't ready to give up Estella just yet. Using her not-so alter ego to continuously spy on the Baroness, Cruella impresses and mystifies the public with her cutting-edge designs and eye-catching performance stunts. And this all continues until she foils the Baroness's biggest fashion show of the year by throwing her own and winning over the public, thus ending their epic battle for the throne. Nah, I'm just kidding. Estella does throw her own fashion show, and it is amazing, but at this point, the Baroness has already caught on to her double-crossing Clark Kent routine, and has her own evil plan in the works. Now, something you should know about the Baroness. She is the most narcissistic, egotistical, inconsiderate, and manipulative person out there. And on top of all that, she has a huge craving for murder. And that is exactly what she plans to do to Estella. Literally, she tries to burn her alive. And she almost succeeds. But almost is never enough. Estella is then saved by the Baroness's not-so-faithful right-hand man, John, who tells her some disturbing news. And now another spoiler alert that in some way we all saw coming. That the Baroness is actually Estella's real mom, who was not so happy with the prospect of having a daughter steal all of her beauty and spotlight, so upon her birth, ordered to have her killed. Like I said, a serious craving for murder. So Estella has a beautiful little breakdown about the whole thing. I mean, as she should. And then fully accepts her new identity as Cruella, and plans one final takedown. So at this point, the Baroness should have learned to stop throwing major parties. But when you're rich and obsessed with yourself, what else is there? So Cruella uses the fact that she's supposedly dead to her advantage, and breaks into the Baroness's big charity gala. And then, when the time is right, she corners the Baroness, dressed as her old self, Estella. She then uses the fact that the Baroness has a craving for murder against her, and gets her to push her off a cliff in yet another murder attempt. But this time in front of everyone. So naturally, everyone is shocked at the scandal, and the Baroness is arrested. But our dear love Cruella used a parachute made from a skirt to survive the fall. However, since the world thinks Estella is dead, Ella officially adopts the name Cruella de Vil, and inherits the Baroness's estate that she left to herself when she was Estella, because Estella was the Baroness's daughter who would then inherit the estate, and then she left it to Cruella, which is really her. Anyway, Jasper, Horace, Cruella, Buddy, John, Wink live happily ever after in this glorious mansion. The big kicker of all of this is that Anita, the journalist that was helping Cruella on her claim to fame, and Roger, the piano-playing lawyer that was fired by the Baroness, are Anita and Roger from the original 101 Dalmatians, which is highlighted when Cruella gives each of them their very own spot-covered friend at the end of the movie, bringing everything full circle. Now, even with all that, I still can't tell you how I feel about the movie. On one hand, Disney is Disney, and the movie definitely feels like it was not exactly made for me. But on the other hand, Emma Stone is definitely shown in a truly flattering light. I mean, the girl's got some serious acting chops that I don't think the world is paying enough attention to. So, all this to say, I don't know what to say. I will say it's definitely in my top 3 of the recent Disney reimagined live-action classics. So it's definitely worth a watch. But I don't see an Academy Award in its future. Although, who knows? For Cruella, anything is possible. So you better look out for Cruella DeVille. 'Cause if she doesn't scare you, then no evil thing will. Until next time. This is Tiana Elise signing out.